Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Welcome. Mr. Hughes, we had an opportunity when you were in the office to talk about the Green and Resilient Retrofit Program, which supports energy-saving modification for affordable housing units. And it's based on bipartisan legislation Senator Collins and I introduced. We estimate that some of the savings are about $1,100 a year with the installation of these energy-saving devices. Press reports indicate that the program was canceled. I asked you in the office, as your current duty as Chief of Staff, what it was it canceled, and you responded it's under review. Can you fill us in on the latest details?
Yes, sir, and thank you for your time in your office. I enjoyed speaking with you. We are currently looking into that. I was informed. It's currently under litigation, so I can't speak about that right now, but I do look forward to getting back to you very soon and continuing the conversation we had on that topic.
A following question. Rhode Island was awarded $11.8 million in GRRP loans and grants, and when will this money be available to my constituents?
Say that again, sir.
I said Rhode Island has been awarded $11.8 million under this program. When will that money be
Yes, sir.
issued?
Thank you for that, and thank you for the letter that you sent the secretary. We've been working on a response, and we hope to get back to you very soon with an answer on that.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I would, for the record, like to introduce a article which talks about the positive effect of this program.
Without objection.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Ms. Bowman, in a speech in March 2024, you said that, quote, "In the execution of its bank regulatory and supervisory responsibilities, the board is meant to operate independently and apolitically." Can you affirm, yes or no, whether you still think that is an accurate statement?
Yes, I believe that's an accurate statement.
Thank you very much. Well, I ask this because both the OMB and Treasury seem to have a concerted effort to involve themselves in Fed affairs. In February, the White House issued an executive order saying that independent agency officials like you must be supervised and controlled by the president. And just yesterday, Secretary Bessent of the Treasury Department said the Treasury Department plans to revisit prudential regulation, and it intends to drive more tailored regulation. Will the Fed remain independent on supervision and regulation?
Senator, that's a question that I focus on often, which is that we should be applying similar requirements across the prudential regulators and holding banks to standards that are transparent and clear. So to the extent that we can work together with our other regulators, and I think that's an important and appropriate focus and goal that we could accomplish.
Do you plan to submit your regulations to OMB for review and provide the Treasury Department with a say in the substance of those rules?
I think it's important that we understand the requirements that we're asking the banking industry and the financial industry to comply with. So it's important that we're being consistent across, especially my counterparts in the other regulatory bodies, that our expectations are similar.
But submitting rules for review by the OMB would be contrary to the previous practice of the Federal Reserve. Is that correct?
Well, as I said earlier, I think it's important that we adhere to the principles of cost-benefit analysis, that we're identifying the problem that we're trying to solve, and that I think that will be a part of the process that will be
You
beneficial.
have, I presume, over the last several decades, been in the Fed, adhering to the rule of cost-benefit analysis, consistent with the law, et cetera. Are you suggesting the Fed has been sort of frivolous over the last years?
So actually, the Fed is not required to apply cost-benefit analysis in our regulatory duties. And I think that is a very important part of the regulatory process. And if I'm confirmed, I intend to strictly comply with cost-benefit analysis.
Is DOGE required to comply with cost-benefit analysis?
I'm not familiar with the mission of DOGE.
Very few people are. They seem to be wandering around. But I can tell you, I've never seen any of their responses contain cost-benefit analysis as they wipe out people from offices who they have to recall 2 or 3 days later because we have a critical safety issue with our nuclear weapons. So I would urge you to think hard about whether you're going to submit regulations to Treasury or to OMB. Thank you.
Senator, thank you for that question.
Thank you, Senator.